Beside.
Hey, what's going on, Paul?
Yes, Bolake.
Three syllables. Three syllables.
You
You
got
gotta
it.
be patient with me. Be patient with me. How you feeling, Palake?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Just finished talking to Mike a few minutes ago, Perkins, and doing great.
I'm glad he's not due to be on. He's on in October, so but he'll watch the video if you want to catch up and see what the latest is. You know?
I'm so thrilled to be a part of this today. Thank you so much for inviting me and for
But
all you do.
so everything that you're gonna hear today, next month, is with your last name. So you're gonna hear us talk about that.
Okay. Okay, great.
Excellent. Let me give me 1 minute. Let me get this queued up real
Sure.
quick.
Do your thing.
Excellent.
Testing, testing, testing.
Okay, what about now? Can you hear me now?
Certainly, yes. Thank you.
All right. So I'm just going to continue where I was at because I'm not sure how much people heard, but I'm doing a roll call right now. So 60615 zip code is linked to, led by Joe Murrow's last name M, so he won't be on this call. He'll be on in September, but his zip code is linked to New Orleans. It's linked to Congo in Africa. And then we have 60617 led by Kathy Barnes. Her zip code is linked to Kansas City, Missouri, and is linked to Tanzania in Africa. And then we have 60619, Erica Dunn. She will be getting on later on today. Her zip code is linked, it's called Chatham, and is linked to Philadelphia, and is linked to Angola in Africa. And we got Sister Lucy down in Georgia that is connected with Angola. At 4 o'clock today, 60628 will be represented by Charles. He's the governor out there. His zip code is linked to Dallas, Texas, and they're linked to South Africa. That's their connection. We got Lady G in South Africa that we support. Then we move over to Woodlawn, 60637 zip code. That's Governor Reddick, Claudette Reddick, last name R. She'll be on in October, so we're not expecting her. But we do have our queen on now, Reba. And Reba last name is within the A through E, so I'm glad she carved out time to jump on. So Reba is on here. And then we have that zip code linked to Zimbabwe. We have that zip code linked to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So that fits. Reba, I'm going to bring you up so you can talk about what you're doing, but that fits 60637. And we do have Sister Salul, who's an awesome baker in Zimbabwe that we support. Then we move on to 60643 zip code. That zip code is led by Art Cheston. They're linked to Cleveland, Ohio, and they take care of Botswana and the continent of Africa. We move on over to 60649. That's who's on duty today. That zip code is led by Rachel Lindsay. She, last name L, won't be on until September. That zip code is linked to Miami, Florida. We have an amazing assistant principal down there, Tawana Akins. We got Chile Israel down there. We got Brother Brookins. So we got some good, wonderful people down in the MIA. And that zip code is linked to Zambia in Africa. That's the flag behind me for Zambia. Then we have the last one. That is 60653 zip code. That's Bronzeville in Chicago. That zip code is it's similar to 2-1. We have strong leaders in the zip code, but we don't have an official governor for that zip code. But we have Mrs. Smith over there, who's very strong. Miss Ross over there, very strong in the Bronzeville area. And that zip code is linked to Gary, Indiana, where I'm at right now, and is linked to Nambia in Africa. And we got a brother over there that makes shoes and that we send our support to over there. So Pennies to Nambia comes from Gary and Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood. So that's the roll call. We do have Reba on, so I do want to bring Reba on. And the way this format is going to work is our leaders that's going to come on. They've been asked to spend 5 minutes with us. So they're going to come on, share what they're doing. And then their time is up from that topic, but they can chime in whenever we're having a discussion. So this is open forum. Open forum is recorded. You can go back, watch it later. But I want to start in with the introductions now, and then we'll continue the agenda. I'm going to keep the agenda going. All right. So let's go first with Sister Kehinde. If you don't mind coming off of mute, I just want you just to tell us who you are and what you do. Then we're going to go to Reba, because Reba has been with us a long time. She's one of our veterans, but that way she can meet you as well and all our people that's watching. So you have the floor.
Hello, everybody. I am Fulake. I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, hello.
Ooh, I am so happy to be here. I am an entrepreneur out of Chicago. I specialize in revitalizing vacant homes I typically buy foreclosures and try to improve them to help improve communities on the South Side, and particularly specializing and focusing in the areas where I grew up. I also am a part-time educator. Thank you for having me.
Now, where did you grow up at? What zip code? You know, we go by zip codes.
60619.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Appreciate you being on. All right, so Reba, introduce yourself and let us know what you got going on.
I am a divorced mother of 3 young men, 20, soon to be 24 in October, soon enough, 27 and 29. So I grew up in the Auburn Gresham area. I'm currently living in the Washington Park area. Just moved away from your childhood neighborhood. I was at 79th and Evans. So I'm an educator. I teach Spanish, usually full time during the school year, and a home daycare program. I'm a consultant. One of my biggest clients is the Grand Ballroom Chicago. I've been a vendor consultant with Chicago Public Schools, and I'm a recording artist as well new grandma. Well, fairly new, 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, both boys, grandsons. So, and community organizer.
And how do people reach you though, Reba? Should they go to a website or they call you directly?
Certainly. I teach Spanish online and on site as well. It's also used as a fundraiser. 773-449-8839. Again, the number is 773-449-8839. Also, to book our band, I am Lady Reba Soul when I'm on stage. Lady Reba Soul. Lady Reba Soul.
Oh.
I won't say shameless pitch. I love singing and I love teaching. So 773-449-8839. We also have a podcast daily if you'd like to announce your business. Also, when I do events or fundraisers for the Black Youth Metropolis, which is, I'm one of the founding officers for the Black Youth Metropolis, we always highlight our vendors, and they get to do like a virtual pop-up during our events. So that we can actually not only get them some sales, but to promote their business on another level. Most people don't do that. I believe I'm probably the only one doing that. Nevertheless, I'm also the only female Prince impersonator. So I've done a lot to learn. Attribute that to that. Yeah.
You said Prince?
You didn't even know that, huh? Yeah. I'll send you guys some videos I'll share.
Well, we need to see the footage on that.
Yeah, it's fun. Do that as part of one of the fundraisers. I started with the Big Art Project, and that business owner, we need to connect her, Latita. What's Latita's last name? Well, she has a Cafe 75 on 75th and Halsey, so I'll connect her as well.
You already know. I appreciate you. So we just heard from our 2 people that is on early with us. I want to go with the second part of the agenda here, which is the good news report. And I would say this, for me, the biggest thing since our last summit last month on the 4th Saturday is we literally are 107 days away from our 30th year. This is a big deal because
congrats.
Yeah, that's all of us. And the manifestation, I really believe, because we are all over. And what we haven't done is made sure that people can publicly see how broad we are, from, like I say, Africa all the way to Chicago. And I believe before November 20th, 94 is when we started. So this November 20th will make 30 years. That before that 30th year mark, the world is going to be able to see what's been brewing underneath the surface for almost 3 decades. So that's my biggest good news report that I want to put there. Thank you guys for that. Now we have, I put this screen up here so you guys can see this. CATS is conventions, awards, tour, and summit. You heard me when I first started the video. I talked about the tour, which is going, spending a whole month in one area and getting everyone to come over in that area, almost like the Ringling Brothers Circus. So that's what the tour is. And we have that tour in every city, every country in Africa. It's the same tour for their neck of the woods. And then this is the summit. The summit is our accountability. This one we had to account for what we did since the last summit. So every 30 days we stop the clock and we check in on what we got done, what we was able to accomplish, and so forth. So that's the summit. The conventions is a concept that I definitely want people who never heard of us to walk away with. The conventions is designed so that we can create vibrancy in Black neighborhoods all around the United States of America. The conventions are always in Gary, Indiana. And the key is to create travel inside of New Orleans so that they can send their people up here to one of the conventions. It's every single weekend. So they got 48 out of the 52 Saturday weekends to come to a convention. And next year it'll rotate again. So today was our lawyers convention. So any children that wanted to be a lawyer, they would have been here from Detroit, St. Louis, Milwaukee. But imagine when our neighborhoods are all raising and looking forward to traveling with a mindset of collaborating inside of one of the blackest cities in America, Gary, Indiana. So that's what the conventions are. And because the last names A through E is on duty this whole month, that's why you see Karen Barnes right here. And then on the right of that, you see the summit that we're in right now, Erica Dunn. Erica will be getting on here shortly. Underneath both of these ladies' names, and the reason the conventions and the summit is up there is because these two out of cats are the only two that are really in-person meeting opportunities where we can meet in person. Most of what we do is done individually, block by block. The awards and the tours, you do that personally. You go on tour, spend money with the Black businesses, or you go on tour and in your case, Reba, go and teach Spanish in North Lawndale on tour this month. But the tours is designed for your independence, but just do it in this concentrated area. And the awards is based on whatever children we're honoring. So the conventions and the summit is when we physically fellowship together. So that's how that's set up. The names that you see there, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here. The names are all A through E, and that's the key there. So, Reba, your name is on there. If you look under the conventions, you see our boost there, Chicago on the left side. You didn't make that one, but you over here on the 3 to 5 one, so that's all good. But so every single person you see names here, I was able to check in, make sure they're in the land of the living, that they're okay, and then at the end of the month, which is next Wednesday, it switches over to right there. So we have at the bottom here Terry Graham, because next month is F through K last name. So Terry Graham would take over for the conventions. And then if you look over to the right, you see Denise King would take over last name K for for the summit. So I just wanted everyone, especially people new watching, to kind of see what this is. This is the structure that's going to allow us to make sure we have consistency and vibrancy throughout Black America. Any thoughts, questions on any of that?
Step in here and take this call. I'll be right back.
All right. So we have superstar Erica here now. Erica, you there?
Back, can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Okay. All right. I thought I was on mute. I'm sorry.
Nope. You need a second because we good. I was just giving the kind of overview on the structure.
I can go ahead and speak.
Excellent. All right. So go ahead, Governor. The floor is yours.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
This is Sister Erica. I'm the governor of 60619. And
Erica, we are recording, just so you know. So
okay. 60619 is the missing persons unit, and 60619 is connected to Philadelphia. That's our sister city. Our sister country is Angola, and our sister or our connected suburb is River Grove. So basically, what we do is we keep up with the people that are missing in the city of Chicago, not only in 60619, but all throughout Chicago and the suburbs. And we also track vehicles. These vehicles that people have been warning us about, these vans that have these cages in it, and they're abducting people out of parking lots and children off playgrounds and things like that. When we notice one of these vehicles just riding down the street or parked in the community, of course, we're going to call the police. If they're parked near a playground or something like that. And they're also parking in grocery store parking lots and, big department store parking lots. So please be on alert for that. But when we locate one of these vehicles, we take the tag number down and we report it to SI. SI has a database. We put the description of the vehicle and the tag number. So just in case, maybe one day it could be helpful to the police. It could help a victim describe the vehicle they were in. Sometimes they don't get the whole excuse me, y'all, the whole tag number. They only remember partial tag numbers. And this system could potentially help them to solve crimes. So that's the reason why we do that. And the other thing that we're confronting is the sex trafficking, because that has something to do with missing people.
Yes.
The organ harvesting, the melanin harvesting. They're taking the wombs of Black women, transplanting them in transgender men. So it's a lot of layers to the missing people's that issue today. It's not only people just snatching children. Of course, you had the crazies out here that may have had an abortion, or they lost their baby, had a miscarriage, and they want a baby. You have that going on too. But for the most part, right now, we're confronting sex trafficking, organ harvesting, melanin harvesting, the invasion of the body snatchers, because a Black body is worth millions of dollars on the Black market. So our eyes are valuable, our ears, our brains, all of our organs, our kidneys, livers, lungs, and of course they want them to be fresh, virgin organs. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why a lot of our children go missing. A lot of women go missing for sex trafficking. And in general, adults, women, men, and children are being sought out for their organs. Okay? So is what we do in 60619. I'm sounding the alarm constantly over social media, just spreading information and praying that people will start getting enough courage to share the information, because the only way that we're going to stop this is if we put a spotlight on it and let people know what's going on. And you have to put pressure on the authorities also to make them solve these crimes and to arrest the people that's involved. And the last thing that I would like to say is our government, the government of the United States, they are the biggest sex traffickers, organ harvesters, human traffickers, labor traffickers, body snatchers that there is. They are involved. They are the number one predators, and it's big money involved in sex trafficking and all of the above that I just mentioned. It's big money. The government is directly involved, and it leads all the way to the White House. And all of your presidents, you know what I mean? For the most part, they have been involved too. If they weren't directly involved, they know about it. And they were.
Well, you get the complicity by looking the other way. Right now, Epstein, the people who was inside that island still isn't public yet. That's coming up on our agenda here to talk about that, but I wanted to get Erica in while we had her attention and whatnot before she made. What time you gotta leave, Erica?
You know what? I have my grandchildren out here now. I just stepped in Dunkin' Donuts to talk.
Okay. But they got the introduction. How do they reach you? And I'm a piggyback on everything you said and give some more context to it.
You can reach me at I'm on social media on Facebook as Marcella Dunn. That is my real name. It's not a phone name. And my phone number is 773-996-4857. And if you can't get me, you can always contact Cy, and Cy can reach you at any time. And I look forward to meeting you all. I'm hoping that we'll have some type of gathering soon with our group, you know. And we could all sit down and break bread and talk about some things and strategize, organize, and get our our leadership, our structure in order.
Now, do you have are you public with the event coming up next weekend? I see Sister Barnes on here, so she needs to know about it because she's in the area.
Yes, we have the Black Summer Olympics. This is the 8th annual Black Summer Olympics coming up on August the 3rd. And Si, I'll send you the flyer. You can share it over the Zoom. Maybe they can take a screenshot of it.
Right.
But yeah, me and Si, we've been doing this for some years. Si is the MC. He's the hardest working man on the field. His wife, Miss Jamaica, she comes out and helps out. And his daughter, she was there last year and she was helping out. We have a good time every year. We have activities for not only the children, we have activities for adults as well. Like we have chess, we have dominoes, the spades players or the big whist players. We have horseshoes. We do the senior speed walk. And we also have something that I look forward to every year because it's a collective activity. And it's called the Unity Walk. And that's when we do one lap around the track as a family. Young, old, and in between. We all do that. If we don't get exercise but once a year, we know we're gonna get it. So we have a lot of activities. It's all free. We have a lot of food. We're gonna have music and the bouncy house for the children and all types of activities. The Black Summer Olympics is centered around family, fun, and fitness. And it would be great if you all can join us.
Now the location we're gonna hold off on, right, until you give me the flyer. So we'll get that to you guys. So just say the date next Saturday, and I get you that detail.
Well, it's at Avalon Park, 1:30, Avalon Park. That's our opening ceremony. But like I said, I'm about to send the flyer and Sal share it. Okay.
Excellent. No, that's perfect. All right. So right now we're in the safety section. So that being Erica's zip code's focus area. So she already gave us the missing persons part. I want to give you guys the vacant buildings as well. So the bottom line is, if there's a vacant building in any of our jurisdictions, someone has to have ownership, whether it's the county because the government seized it, or whether it's a bank, or whether it's an individual. But every single vacant property is a potential threat to us and our safety. So therefore, we want to make sure by zip code that we know who owns it. If you just get the address and you text it to 312-405-8844, that's 312-405-8844, we'll put it in the log, in the registry, and we'll get someone to do some research on it to see if it's owned privately or owned by the government. But either way it go, it need not to be a threat to you and your family. And that's the bottom line there. Also, the violence update. So if you guys, especially new people who may not have heard this in the past, but violence, we rank it by seasons. And there's 4 seasons when we talk about anti-violence operations. We focus on the Black violence because we do believe that there's not a one-size-fits-all remedy to this violence. what causes black people to kill is different than what causes whites to kill, Mexicans to kill. We concentrate on what is causing black people to kill. And from our estimation, a lot of it has to do with personal, and it has to do with deprivation, i.e., we're old reparations. We never got their repair, and people have gotten to their wits' end. We don't go and shoot up schools where innocent children are. We don't do those type of things. So that version of anti-violence don't work for us because we're not doing that anyway collectively. So I just want to make sure you guys know the seasons. And here's the bottom line. Because the children are out of school already, because people are now getting ready for back to school, because people are on family reunions, because people are the weddings and all those things, the summertime represents the biggest test for anything we're going to do around anti-violence because people are so busy trying to get the last of everything done before it's hibernation season again. During hibernation season, when it gets dark early and it gets colder, less people outside, that's a different type of violence that we end up experiencing. So our solution is habits, schedule, network. That's a lifestyle. Habits, schedule, network. That's HSN. So what I'm about to read to you is some of the people who've been shot, killed, stabbed, and raped. And this is always unacceptable. And unfortunately, our political leaders that is flooding all of our cities with tons of money is not having the impact, and it won't have the impact because the fundamental key is blacks doing for self. If we're waiting on the government to do certain things, that's just, it's dysfunctional all by itself. We leverage government, we coordinate with government, we don't depend on government. And unfortunately, they push dependency on us, and we accept that way too often. So we're looking to them to do things that we have to do. So some of the incidents right now, we have 136 people murdered in Memphis, Tennessee. Based on our research, Memphis is the headquarters for abductions and missing persons. That place, that's where it happens at more than any other place. We have over 80 murders in Birmingham, Alabama. That's a small city to have that many murders already. Chicago, I read some of the incidents here. We had our postal workers shot to death in Charles zip code. He'll be getting on here in a minute. 60628 zip code. We have teenagers sitting in the car. They was murdered on Ellis, 98th and Ellis, 1400 East 57th Street. This is in one of the more promising areas. 4 guys jumped out of a car, robbed the guy. He refused. So they shot him in the knee. That was at 9:15 in the evening. 7-year-old boy shot on the road on I-94 and 73rd. We believe that was a road rage incident. 3 teenagers shot over on 107th Street. The list goes on. 2 teenagers shot on 82nd and Escanaba. It's all unacceptable. It's all unacceptable. But until we get our people to agree block by block to create a communication flow so that we can make sure that we're in touch with each other, and our system would do most of the heavy lifting. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but let me say it this way. We built the structure. You heard me talk about what's linked. You heard when Erica got on, she talked about being linked to Philadelphia. That's our structure. Our system is based on time. And like I say, every 4th Tuesday, that's Lawyers Day. Every 3rd Wednesday, that's Nurses Day. We had to get our structure and system to do all the work so that we don't have to. Only thing we have to do is fill in the people we know to the structure. So if you know someone that want to be a lawyer, we need to know that so we can link them with the lawyer structure. You have someone in your family that's a nurse, we need to know so we can link them with the nurse structure. We have Reba and all our people who teach speaking Spanish. It's all about that information that we all have being funneled in so that it can go into the right pipeline so that that pipeline can be engaging our people where they're motivated at. Everybody isn't motivated by everything. So that's why having all these different areas is going to help us with the ultimate goal, which is habits, schedule, and network. So let me open that up. Any thoughts, feedback, Reba, anybody on here about anything that's been said so far?
Yeah. Can you give that phone number again for if you see an abandoned property? 312?
Yes. 405-8844. That's 312 area code 405-8844. And because the number, the information can come from anywhere in the country, please let me know what block. And the time will be on there already. If you see a vehicle, same thing. What block did you see that vehicle on?
Oh, okay.
Excellent,
Property or
excellent,
vehicle. Thank you.
excellent. And then that zip code, the 60619 leader is on here. So anything that come in from Chatham, that zip code, ultimately Erica and I will be talking about it because that's what the governors do. And when Charles get on, it'll be the same thing. So just know that's the structure that we have. And if we pour into our structure, the structure will invest in our people. Like that's the key. Strengthen our structure and let the structure do the heavy lifting with stubborn people that might not want to act right. So, all right. So now we're moving on. Our young people, just so everyone know, almost in every neighborhood, there are programs for the youth. Every Saturday is Youth Day to us systematically. Every Saturday is Youth Day. So today being Saturday, what are you doing with the young people? And as we get that word out there, people who might have to work and they don't have nothing for their young person to do, if we know Saturday Youth Day, then we can say, hey, Sister Erica is out there already. Can you take my kids? And we can coordinate that. We can find out who got space for the kids to go with where they're going. So just know every Saturday is Youth Day. The more we get that word out there, the more we can coordinate and share who's doing what with the young people so we can always keep them active around good leadership. But we also, in every neighborhood, we know who's doing work. So Erica runs Peacemakers. Reba, what's the name of your organization with the young people you got?
Black Youth Metropolis Enterprise for Entrepreneurship. Black Youth Metropolis.
BYM. BYM, right?
BYME for by me.
There we go. All right. So, and we got Latanya with Inglewood Kids in every zip code. We can go through and name you. Exodus on the west side. There in every zip code pockets of young people's and programs. Here's what needs to happen because there are gaps with all of these structures. Two things. One, we had to finance them better. There has to be money there so that they can fulfill their outcomes that they want to see. And then the last one, we got to bring out of towners in town and get our people out of town. That's the vibrancy part. That's the part that's in and out that allows us to have people excited. Vibrancy brings excitement where everywhere you turn is activity. Right now, we got stagnation. We got people sitting around that can be moving around. So we don't want to sit around. We want to move around. And in that movement, you go meet new people. You go broaden your network. Any thoughts on that? Then we go move over to economics. All right. So moving on over to economics, you guys. And this here is one of my favorites.
I had a question.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Sorry about that. So with the activities, I love that. How much notice do you want in advance for if we have an activity for the young people?
That's a great question. I would say if you told me today, I already know like this last minute, but I know Rochelle Lindsay is on duty today. So if you told me something today that we need to take action on, I'm gonna call Rochelle Lindsay and say, we got something for you today. Today your day. Let's see how we can coordinate with Sister. What's your name?
Flake, that's speaking.
Oh, okay. There you go, Flake. Mm-hmm. That's how we'll coordinate that. So the short answer is every day somebody's on duty. So if you told us the day of, we should be able to at least link them with who's on duty. But the more advance notice you give, the more it can be of a higher quality. I say it that way.
That sounds wonderful. So like a service project, is that okay?
Big time. Cleaning up the alley. I just had to go and help with the trees that fell down on the single mother's house in the bushes. They was too heavy. So, we went over there, got that chopped up, and drug it to the alley. That's a service project, stuff like that. We want to, if you're in the zip codes, we want that story. We want to be able to show how we added value in the zip code because that's where our donations come from. We need to show how we're using that money to add value. So as long as you're in the zip codes, we want to do stuff to show we have an impact.
Okay, so the project would need to take place in that zip code?
In any of ours, it's 20 zip codes. So as long as inside the 20 zip codes, that's the goal.
Is downtown a part of any of them? Downtown Chicago?
Now we do downtown for recreation. That's different.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Mhm.
and now, are you downtown? Because you got downtown covered. That shouldn't be a problem with nothing downtown.
You know, I'm so glad you said that. I'm trying to do some things, and I wanted to take some young people sometimes down there.
Now that's different. That's recreation. So we got something called WRT. That's work, recreation, and training. So they do the work, which is the service projects anywhere in our jurisdictions. But recreation could be anywhere. So they could go anywhere to have fun, and they love going different places. So yeah, recreation could be anywhere.
Beautiful. And what's that T stand for? Did you say
Yeah,
WRT?
the T is for training. So
Mhm.
every person, we want to know, what do you do? You're a retired teacher, you're an active teacher, or you're a young person that want to be a teacher, because that tells us what the training should look like. If you want to be a nurse, we're going to link you with our nurses we have, and they're going to give you vocabulary words to study. They're going to get you acclimated with what a day looks like to be a nurse. So whatever young person tell us, aspiration, that's the training we want to get them to start learning, at least the vocabulary at minimum. We got, is that Sister Giles? Did Sister Giles get on? Because she runs a dissecting, I know I'm butchering it. She dissect animals, y'all. And she does it with young people, 5th graders, 6th graders. So what she does, I hope she's on here. And if she's not, when she get on, we're going to link her. But what she does is critical for our young people to go into that arena there, that they can become veterinarians and scientists. So that's in North Lawndale. So that's a good link over there as well. Okay, so we have next is the economic agenda. Every Wednesday is economic day. For those who don't know, our whole philosophy is $1 every single Black person. Is 46 million of us. We want to one day be at $46 million a month. If only half did it, that's 23 million. So either way it go, that works. So we can live with that. But the concept is doing for self. It's about us making sure that we can have our own resources circulate just like everybody else. Chinatown, Greek Town, Little Italy. There's nothing wrong with us doing that. We want to make sure that we're confident in promoting that to our community, that we can pull together that dollar and it make a difference. So the spending report cards, that's the section here. I need to pull this up so you guys can see that. Let's see here. Let's stop sharing this screen so you guys can see this other screen here. All right, mic check. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right, here we go. Share the screen, photo. All right, here we go. Okay. All right, so this here is on the economic side, so you guys can kind of know how the money rotates with us. So in every zip code, we're asking you for $1, or you pay the whole $12. If you see number 2 there, it says that shows the $12. Can y'all see that number 2 on the left side? It say $12 and that going across.
Yes.
So that's fundamental. That's fundamental. That's covering the whole year. Underneath that $12 is how you can get to that. Some people want to do their whole $1 each month. That's fine. Some people do a nickel, dime. I want to make sure that everyone knows what matters the most is your participation in this process. Because while you might have a season where you don't have the whole $1, you might just do 10 cents. But what we have in you doing 10 cents is we have the conversation with you. And the conversation with you is when you tell us about your daughter who's a nurse. Now that strengthens our nurse club. So even though we got 10 cents from you, now we got your daughter who's more right now economically strong. She might pay $24. That covers your 12 and hers. But if we were dismissing you because you only had 10 cents, we miss out on your daughter who's a nurse. And now the children that want to be nurses got that linkage. So I want to emphasize that the dollar amount doesn't matter. It's the participation. It's the staying in touch with each other that's crucial. Any thoughts or concerns with that? Okay. So now we go up. The $100, those are our people who does the 30-day loans. And the reason why the loans matter, the reason we're doing the loans is because the loans represents trust. When you drive past the expressway, you might see homeless out there and you might just roll the window down and get them $1 because you just want to know that you helped out. You're not worried about what they do with it as much because, you know, they in a bad situation to be out there. So the $12 donations, the $1 donations, people can easily give us that just to say, get out of here, get out of my life, just take it and go. With the loans, it requires you to trust us a little bit differently. Because now we're saying we're going to give it back, and we could possibly not do that. And so now I got to make a decision. Do I trust them that they go keep their word? That's different than donate $12 to us. They'll do that to shut us up. So all the higher boxes, the yellow, the blue, the green, the orange, that's different levels of trust. Just know that that's all because they got to look us and see if they want to believe in us and not to do that. And what makes this better for the community is in every zip code, we get to see who are those higher degree of trust people, who's going to trust us at a higher level. And where we are right now, we have $15,000 worth of trust established with our community, with Black people who trust us with the $100, the $250, the $500, or even the $1,000. Any thoughts or concerns with that from anybody?
So we give each of us $12 per month, is it?
Oh no, that's for the year.
Oh, right. That's wonderful.
That's for the year. No, it's $1 a month, and it's been like that for almost 30 years. So yes, $1 a month.
Okay.
And let me just tell you why that's so important. We call it LRFO. LRFO. That's leave room for others. LRFO. Leave room for others. By us staying at the $1 rate, when we get in touch with you because there's a young lady in your zip code who don't have a winter coat, winter boots, we can possibly add value there. But if we took all the money from you early, now look, I ain't got no more money, man. so by keeping it so low, we stay in position to come back to you and let you know other opportunities. Do that make sense?
Yes. Fantastic.
All right.
And then the global countries, they do like a penny, a 10 cents or $1.
Perfect question. So pennies are to Africa always. So pennies is always Africa. So when you walk past a penny, think about Africa. Let's get it so we can get it to Africa. So we do send pennies to Africa. Erica we have sent money to Angola. We really send money to Sierra Leone. So that's what the pennies are for. We Black Americans, we do not take the pennies for self. We make sure that goes to Africa for real.
Does anything go to yes? Anything go to Nigeria?
Oh, Nigeria, they get the most money out of all of Africa right now because they do something for us. They make signs every day for us. So they get $100, which we know the exchange rate, that's pretty significant. China pays them literally $40 a month, $80 a month if they on the higher end for working in their shop. We're doing $100. So yeah. So I want to pull this down, but every one of these denominations, so I don't want to go too in depth, but the nickels go to support Mississippi, the dimes go to support the conventions in Gary, the quarters stay in your local zip code. So that takes care of why I'm giving my money somewhere else. The quarters represent 4 quarters is your dollar. That stays with you. The 10 dimes goes so we have money for the young people and adults can travel to the conventions in Gary, creating vibrancy. Then the nickels are there so that we can take care of Mississippi, the blackest state in America and the poorest state in America. So that's just so y'all know structurally and on the economic side how it's set up. Any thoughts and concerns with that?
I think it's
I see we
fantastic.
got Pam on here too. Pam
That's-
Dominguez, welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yep, yep.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes.
Hello.
Pamela, you want to do your introduction so they know what you link to?
I don't know what I'm listening to. Excuse me. I was eating. Good afternoon. My name is Pamela Dominguez, and I'm in zip code 60620. I am the general over here. I was a distributor for many years. And so, I'm late to the kindergartens and 10th graders.
All right, and your linkage is Norfolk, Virginia. I want them to hear that part.
Those languages. Oh, okay. Norfolk, Virginia is the sister that gets the dimes. Africa is Egypt that we send the pennies to.
Look at that.
Woohoo!
Right. So that goes back to the structure, you guys. Remember, if we strengthen the structure is designed to take care of our people. That's a mindset shift from the way we used to operate, where we go directly help the people. But if we strengthen the structure will be there for our people. And that's a perfect example. So if you got family and friends in Norfolk, Virginia, you can strengthen the structure by letting Pamela know, because Pamela and knowing is going to link your people in Norfolk with our people in Norfolk. And then collectively, they can take care of the people in need in Norfolk even better. So that's why that message is strengthen the structure, and the structure will automatically take care of the people. So hopefully that resonates with you guys. I'm gonna take this slide down here. Anybody else? I see we got Sister Cheryl on, but Pam, let us know what's coming up before we move on to Sister Cheryl. What's coming up in your world with your organization, or even in Chicago?
What's coming up? What is coming up? I'm trying to think. You caught me off guard. I hadn't thought about that.
Well, what's the Temple of Mercy doing? What they got going?
Oh, okay. We're going to be celebrating the month of August. We will be celebrating Dr. Martin, not Dr. Martin Luther King, Dr. Webb Evans, who was a Black forerunner to Buy Black. He passed in 2000, I want to say 13 or 14. He was 101. He had been mobile till he was 100, still driving. And his whole focus had been to buy Black. He helped fund Illinois Savings and Loan, which was a Black savings and loan bank. He was one of the founders of Seaway National Bank, which was a Black bank in Chicago. He owned a couple of stores, bookstores, grocery stores. His motto has been, we have to support, we have everything in our communities to sustain ourselves. So if we would buy from each other, then those businesses can hire people from the community, and we can become self-sustained. Because I really love that message, because I wonder, and I say this loosely, but if we woke up tomorrow morning, the city of Chicago, state of Illinois decided that they were not going to, the grocery stores were not going to sell to Blacks, the clothing stores are not going to sell to Black, the car stores, all of these things. What are we going to do? We have none of those things. So this is why I really love United Black American Progress. Excuse me. That's Dr. Evans' group, but also our group with Zyron, because it's moving us to a condition of self-sustainability. Because we've been here 500 years and plus. They ain't did nothing for us yet. So when it ain't gonna happen until we do it. So that's one thing that they're going to be so the month of August, we're asking you all, and we know we can't buy everything from Black stores, but as best as we can, shop with the Black vendors. Take a few minutes. We drive out to Chicago Ridge Mall and go places. There's a Black service station on 160th and Halsted, 154th and Halsted. Drive out there on Wednesday. That's our economic day. Get gas for your car.
There we go.
Focus on our Black businesses in the month of August and every day. the Inglewood Back to School Parade, I don't know, they're not having that because of the Democratic Convention. But there are a lot of festivals and stuff going around in Inglewood, food markets. Shirley Coleman, the alderman of the 16th Ward, is putting on a gospel fest, some jazz fest. Well, I just say a music fest. So there's a lot going on. I will try to participate as best as I can. I won't be attending everything, but I definitely will be participating in the Buying Black.
Yeah. And the way we do that is with naming them. So we're gonna definitely talk about how we name the 4 Black businesses. I'm gonna pull that up so people can see that too. But we got Cheryl Blackman on. Cheryl, are you there? You might be on mute still. All right. Hopefully she'll be able to join in and give us the update on her end, what's going on. So let's get to the next portion here. The construction projects. Anthony Collins is a young Black male out of the 60628 zip code. He is an electrician, low voltage electrician, and he has the space right there on 111th and Wentworth that used to be a dry cleaners. It's a big space. And he's converted over to a classroom session for young Black men primarily, women too, but Black men primarily, so that they can make money while going to school, electrical school, low voltage school. And so when we heard about him, we went out there, we videoed the space and everything, and he needed $10,000 to complete the rehab work. And so we went live so people can see it. And based on our structure, again, we have 20 Black zip codes. So we said, if we trying to reach $10,000, that's literally 5 churches. We like the churches, 5 churches in all 20 zip codes represents 100, and 100 churches putting up $100 as the 10,000. So we share with him, that's the structure we have. So let's go after, let's target that. Let's try to make that a reality. So we mailed out to 100 churches, 5 churches in all 20 Black zip codes.
Oh
and
my
here's
God,
the bad
that is
news.
so doable.
No, what was that?
I said, I'm sorry, I jumped in. I'm just being witness with you. That is so doable. Just got to execute it and make it happen.
That's right.
Well, now, I'm glad you on here because I want to bring you up, but let me give y'all the bad news report. So we mailed out, we concluded this operation on Monday, July 22nd, which is construction day. Every 4th Monday is construction day. So we launched it. We ran it for a total of 39 days from when we mailed out. We did have a plumbers association pay for the postage stamp. So that helped us tremendously because stamps literally is 68 cents now. So 68 cents times 100 is $68, just so y'all know. So the sponsor was Reverend Taylor and his plumbing association. So that was good because we put their flyer in there. So all 100 churches got a plumbing flyer and this electrician flyer. So we called all 100. We concluded it on that Monday. And we had 14 letters came back because they're out of business or because the address changed. And we only spoke to 20 out of the 80 because their phones was disconnected. It hurt my heart because so many of our structures they're just closing down. Now we and give you guys to give your thoughts on that, but we also see this, we start keeping a list of the other Black businesses that shut down too. And that's the lack of that vibrancy that we're talking about, that they just don't have the bandwidth to stay open. But we was very disappointed. So we concluded that operation, not touching any money. So no money was received or exchanged. And we wanted it that way because if we wasn't going to hit the target, we wanted to make sure we can redefine the message so they know kind of what they expect. So we didn't touch any money. We did get 6 churches that love the concept and they're going to work with us going forward. So I was just sure I want to link you with those churches since that's what you guys are working on. But so 6 good, open-minded pastors agreed to continue the conversation. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Excuse me. You say agreed for the conversation, but you didn't want conversation, then you want the money.
Yeah, but I wouldn't let them put the money up because $600 wasn't gonna move that needle. So we don't want to have like we the ideal way we want to run the operation is, number one, we get 100 churches who say yes, or we get 100 churches who say they open for it if they get more information. So then we can go back. So that way, when we pull the trigger and touch money, we can make sure we go hit the outcome. Because what we don't want is to mess our reputation up. Half did it. Well, what happened to the last money? So we didn't want to do it that way. So we wouldn't let them do it, even if they wanted to.
So they couldn't have given some money, and that would have just been held as money still coming in.
No, because then that's so, and that's a great question, Pam. Just so you guys know, if we was doing that for our organization, we would have did that. But because we're doing it for a partner, we don't want to have that lingering legal tie to that partner. We'll do it for us. We'll be accountable for every penny that come into us, but we don't want to have that with someone else that if we don't meet the mark, then they use the money for something else or something else happens. We need to have a clean break. If we raise the 10,000, now you're accountable for the whole 10,000 to these 100 churches. So we're going to do something different for him now. Now we're going to target 5 businesses in every zip code to see if they would do it. So we really is going to still try to hit that $10,000 mark for him. But I'm just giving y'all the church one that we did and how it concluded.
And I just want to let Cheryl know I'll be willing to work on that too.
Excellent.
The churches, okay.
Excellent. So on the construction side, also, as you guys probably see already, with the DNC, Democratic National Convention coming, it's been a lot of cleanup, a lot of stuff being done. And unfortunately, we're being boxed out. We have a brother named Bob Israel in Chicago that is shutting down stuff. He's getting in front of the bulldozers on 60th and Paulina, where they're got all Hispanics working in a black neighborhood. And just from a spiritual standpoint, it's the utmost disrespect to see people dying and then you don't care. You just come in and make money. So he, went and stood in front of them and shut it down until they got some conversation with the higher ups. You see this in every black neighborhood, you guys. So we call it team number 5, construction-minded people to do just that. We got to challenge them on being in our neighborhood, being okay with us not working. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Good. And also get in touch with the alderman. Complain to the alderman as well.
Big time. Yes, indeed.
I didn't stop by. I came to hear something go to the back.
Yes, indeed. All right. So Cheryl, I heard you now. So Cheryl, please let us know who you are, what you got going on, what's coming up.
Well, hey everyone, just Cheryl, that's who I am. As they say, just a resident in the Inglewood community out of the 60636 zip code. A community activist in Inglewood for the last 30, 40 years. And what's going on, I'm glad that this is the construction time, as Cyron was saying. We have that same concern, that same passion, to where they just did the African American Contracts Association and the African American Plumbers Association did a conference at City Hall, and the part Bob Israel shut down. That was good, but we do know that it's over $400 billion worth of projects that are about to be done, and some of them have already started to begin to do the work here in the city of Chicago, not just the state of Illinois, but in the city of Chicago. So our thing was, we did an interview with the Crusader newspaper, I believe, and it should be dropping real soon. And the whole thing the concern was, why aren't black men working? What is it that is hindering the black man from getting a position? Is it that they don't have their paperwork? Is it that they don't do what they're supposed to do? So we're gonna look and cover all barriers. So when the article hit and take place, we begin, and me being and I'm just coming in at the lower part of this, because I'm just not starting a development company myself, but because of all the work that's coming in, and we know that everything is tied in together, because black men is not working, crime is in the streets and violence is in the street at the utmost, because the whole thing is there'll be no social justice until there's economic justice. So with this, they came up with a few ideas and a few concepts of how they're gonna go to the mayor, how they're gonna write it up, make a blueprint, put it together to begin to address some of the issues. At the same time, and on the flip side of that, also talk with all of the construction companies. Turn it down, Tim.
Right.
Sorry, I'm on a phone call, and we're gonna help prepare our Black contractors so to make sure they meet all certifications, that they have their paperwork. Because I found out that a lot of them not on these projects because they not being for the project. Because in order to get the project, sometimes, yeah, true, you can go gangster your way to a project, but then the way they had it, the way they got it set up, it's set up so that they put the rally cry out, we want diversity, we want this, we want that, but they know that the average person ain't gonna read. So me and a couple of more ladies, we finna start intercede in that to begin to help some of the contractors to make sure that they have all their paperwork set order, make sure they have their certificate, make sure we teach them how to do the bidding and stuff like that, because the city of Chicago, Cook County Metropolitan is looking for diverse construction companies and everything across the trades. I don't know all the trades, there's so many of them. So we're going to be helping them at the same time where we're going to be rallying the cry, and we're getting ready to do a press conference to go in front of Chicago Housing and in City Hall and tell them that if we don't get none of the things, that it goes back to the point that if we don't work, nobody don't work. So that's what's going on now. We're calling all the construction, guys. We're going to be meeting this Tuesday, and then after next Tuesday, we're going to call all the construction guys. I think he got 300 companies along. Minister Muhammad Caleb is also working with us with a couple of guys who own construction companies, and they are ready, so it's to the point this time it's coming to the point that we're building the strength of unity as us, as Black people, not minority people, because they fool us with that trickery. Say, yeah, because Turner Company, who doing Obama's construction company, do have the project. Udama, who's a Black company, yeah, they do got the project. And then they say, well, that's minority, but it ain't about minority. We talking about Black construction companies. We're not going to get, Black. We don't want to get caught up in that minority. We ain't trying to collaborate together. Not saying that we don't love them. We love the Black and the brown, but this right now is all about the Black man. And then another thing I found out too, side, is that a lot of the construction company, and that's another thing that, because first we're trying to address all the barriers. So one of the barriers is that they all the jobs is union mandated or union mandatory that you be in the union. So that's another thing that we're going to begin to put together, and we're going to be going to the legislation and demand that they change ordinances and change the ordinances. If a good, liable plumbing company, if a good, liable construction company is qualified and know how to do the work and build a house, and they don't want to do it based on the union wages, they can do it on prevailing wages. And I'm just saying that I don't know the verbiage, but thank God for Mr. Taylor, who I work with, and Omar Sharif, they know the verbiage. Our thing is we just finna outline it, we finna put together, and we finna begin to cry loud and spare not, due to the fight, because the nation is finna look at Chicago right now. And that's what we're doing on that end. At the same time, as far as the construction piece, we also doing the same cry with all the pastors across the nation too.
Now, how do people get in touch with you, Cheryl?
773-504-9988 is my cell number, 773-504-9988.
All right, and let me say this to what Cheryl just described, so you guys know.
Maybe before you go into that, can I just ask her a quick question?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, this is back to the construction, because I also know one of the reasons that Blacks do not get the Black construction companies don't get the grants, because many of their grants are, they don't pay you up front. You have to have the money already in your coffers to pay your employees and wait till the city sends that money.
It's all type of roadblocks, Pamela.
Yes, that is a big one that I wanted to mention that maybe they should look at, because that is a big variable.
But I think we got to balance that out, because we do have enough Black people with a lot of means And so we gotta, just like the
Yes.
Hispanic community do too, we gotta have that set aside. That's where I talked about the loans. We gotta have that $15,000. That's just 150 people's $100 set aside. So when you meet that barrier, we reduce that barrier. That do for self is so big, and we
Yes.
got some very rich Black millionaires in Chicago. So we gotta have
Absolutely.
that conversation with them.
Investors.
And let me say this about the unions, just you guys, most unions are international, and you see International Brotherhood of XXX, that international is white. Please know that. It ain't international and they
Yes.
with Africa. You better believe none of them international unions are tied to the continent. So that's part of the white structural racism we dealing with, these international brotherhoods, but it ain't, it's ex hoods for us. So just know that's part of the racial dynamic that we need to be having Team 2 shut down and get that out of the language. Because these unions weren't designed for us, by us.
Never.
Absolutely. And I need to meet with all of them so we can begin to strategize, and so we can get it and put it in the King's language, so we can push it through our elected officials so they can mandate it by law.
Big time. Big
Yes,
time.
absolutely.
Thank you, sir. We got 2 education gurus on here, and we got Governor Charles on here. So I want to go with Eben and then Natasha. Governor Charles, we're gonna bring you up third. So Eben Credit, I've been knowing for a long time, but when you get on, Eben, just introduce yourself to our audience. It is being recorded, so don't say nothing you want the world to hear. No, go ahead, Eben, you got the floor.
Hey, good afternoon, people. Evan Credit, like I said, I've known Saran pretty much since you started NBCU. I think I was at the meeting when you started it, if I'm not mistaken. Me, you, and Lowry.
The Chicago version, yep.
Right? Sitting around the table on the west side. But anyway, I'm going to keep it brief. One thing is it's kind of like in the future, well, 2 things. But the main thing is kind of like in the future. No, I don't know if you heard, but Chicago now has an elected school board. The election for like the 10 slots will be November 5th, the same day as Election Day. So please don't let this slip by, because the school board, there will be what's going on at CPS now with the board, the way the board is set up. This elected school board will be charged with that same. So we're talking about, if I'm not mistaken, we're talking about contracts, which is important. We're talking about helping to select superintendents, setting policy for the 3rd largest school district in the country. So like I say, it's a pretty big deal. As it goes along, I'll get you guys more information on it.
Well, we have Eric on. I mean, we have Natasha on here, who actually she's like you. She know she know a lot about it.
Raise your hand, Natasha. How you doing here?
She on mute. Yeah.
She's on mute? Okay. Yeah. So that one. The second one.
I'm sorry. Hey, Eben.
Hey, Eben.
Hey,
hi, Natasha.
Eben, I say Eben. I've been messing your name up for years. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
How are you guys? Good.
Doing fine. Doing fine. The second one is not so much an education thing, but schools, local school councils, and actually people around on the South Side should be paying attention to this and kind of help make it an education piece in their schools. It was announced yesterday that the old steel plant on 87th Street is going to be a quasi. I want to get this right. A quantum computer site. They're pouring in like billions of dollars to take about 122 acres and turn it into the world's largest quantum computer site. So in terms of
what though?
The old steel plant, 87th and Lakefront. Can you hear me? Can you understand me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but Natasha was breaking up.
Okay, yeah, the old steel plant on 87th and Lakefront, the old U.S. steel plant.
Okay, all right, cool.
All right, okay. It's like 400 acres. They're taking 122 acres and turning into a quantum computer plant, which will actually will be one of, if not the largest in the world. So I mention that because they're going to be not just jobs, but high paying jobs for students, for those that can qualify. When I say qualify academically, have the degree qualify for. So so if you're in a local school counselor, elementary school or high school, that means a lot of math and science should be like a second language. That's like, like
Yeah.
people talk about Spanish as a second language, math and science should be a second language.
No, I got it. Yeah.
Because you're talking about jobs right now starting from in the high 80s to 90,000 or well over 200,000 a year, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, every third Monday is our engineers technology day. So that's Pierre Clark. We couldn't get him on, but that Bruce Montgomery, those guys, we got to loop in with them on that STEM side.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, good report. I appreciate you, Evan.
Hey, no problem.
And Natasha, you able to come on in now? You was broken up earlier.
Yeah, can you hear me? Oh,
Yeah, a little bit.
Can you hear?
Keep talking. Let's see if it cleans up.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Now that sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me know about this. It's been a while since I've come on and in to the meetings. But yeah, I just want to.
It's just January and July. That's it, Natasha. You good? You in good order?
Okay, I'm in a good order. Okay, good. But I mean, I don't really know what to report. I mean, he spoke a little bit about the school board thing. I think that is very important. The key component in that is that there's people running right now. There's been multiple different candidate forums across the city of Chicago. So there's a few candidates that are running right now. They are in the contestation stage. So a few candidates have already dropped out, and a few will probably drop out some more. There are a few candidates who are coming with a lot of money. We have the Chicago Teachers Union. They have already endorsed, I want to say, a candidate in each district. Yes, they have. They've endorsed a candidate in each district. So there's 10 districts. And they are putting $1 million behind their candidates because they want to make sure that they get those seats. And then there's people who are, sort of like our independent people.
Right.
I am in the process of meeting with the candidates, with like all of the I want to have a conversation with everybody. Just because I think it's important that they understand the work that's been done in terms of the Black community, Black kids and Black students. They need to know what's been done, what we want to see happen, regardless of who you are. I'm meeting with CTU people too. They on my list too, because it's a chance that they might win. And at the end of the day, we got to hold everybody accountable in this space. So that's kind of where we are. But one of the things that is happening right now, myself, Valerie Leonard, Dwayne Truss, Craig Wimberly, we had a meeting a while ago in Lafayette Ford. We had a meeting a while ago because the Board of Education currently, as it stands, they are supposed to be establishing the Black Student Achievement Committee. So back in, I forgot when, maybe in the spring, we fought to have legislation for there to be the law is codified into the law, the state law, that Chicago Board of Education has to have a committee that's going to have oversight for closing and addressing the systemic gaps that have been in place for Black students. Now, when we talk about Black students, we're not just talking about them, we're also talking about the schools and the communities in which they live. So it's going to be this committee, and we also wrote the law. Like we sat down and we wrote what we wanted to see in this law and how we want to see this committee ran. But what's happening is right now, this current board, they're kind of playing games a little bit. So what we're doing is we're going to probably maybe in the early fall, we're going to start having public hearings about this. The committee, we're going to invite elected officials and we want, the whole committee, we're going to do the south side, west side, we're going to do one on the north side. you know, so that we could talk about this and not just educate people on it. And I've also had an opportunity to talk to some of the people who are running for the board about it as well, because they need to know, because they're going to be a part of it. So this committee is governed by the Board of Education. And what's going to happen is one person or two people from the Board of Education will be on it. And then I want to say the board president gets to choose who from the community could sit on this board. So what we're proposing is, and that was the part where we didn't want, but that was the part that they threw in, you know, like, you know, when you write laws and stuff, it's got to be like a happy medium. So they was like, well, this is how this has to go. So anyway, with that being said, though, we're not trying to settle for that, because we want people who are going to be on there who are from the community that we want. Like, I'm going to be on that board. Now, they can't tell me I'm going to be on this. I want to be on there, you know, and we need other people from the community that's been, you know what I mean, hands on and doing their thing, right, for our community. So we're pushing for the board. And then think about it. It's right now the board president is an Asian man and the CEO is Hispanic. How dare we allow an Asian and a Hispanic to tell us who's going to be on our committee? No, it's not going to happen. So so these public hearings are going to be set up for us to be able to have that conversation, to make sure that we, you know, have the right people on there that represent our community and not just the interests of the one group that's controlling the Board of Education right now. So that's kind of what I have. I don't have anything else.
But introduce your organization, though. You didn't tell us the organization.
Yeah, so I am with I have an organization called the Black Community Collaborative, and we sort of were the group that pushed CPS to really address this issue. We started in 2019 when we pushed back against the teacher strike. And the reason why we pushed back against it was because we recognized that it is going to devastate Black kids, and that they never can, when they go to the table to negotiate, they're not negotiating on behalf of Black kids and Black students. They're ambiguously negotiating for everyone, you know, and saying that Black kids and Black teachers will get the benefits of, you know, having like a nurse or having a social worker and all that stuff. But in reality, even a nurse and a social worker, if they white and if they don't have a cultural relevant background and understand our community, they just like the police. You know what I'm saying? They just like the white police with our kids. So that's not what we so we wanted to make sure that we shine the light on the data to let people know that no, our kids, we are in a state of crisis. Like when I tell y'all, Black kids in CPS, and the majority of our kids attend public schools. The majority of kids that you see all around our community everywhere, the majority attend public schools. They are not teaching our kids. Our kids are illiterate. They don't know math. You talking about this quantum physics computer lab? Baby, let me tell y'all something. They said I've gotten information from CPS saying that them illegal immigrants that then came here, their kids are advanced. They're more advanced than our kids.
So but they're not under the oppression either. So they're
not under the oppression. Right. And I'm not saying, let me be very clear when I talk about Black kids and their intelligence. I know our kids are highly intelligent. I know our kids are gifted. Our kids come out the womb advanced. But what happens is they dumb them down. The system dumbs them down, and unfortunately, you know, parents and everybody people don't understand the system. They just give their kids to the school system, and then they don't understand all of the things that that come across them. And so anyway, that's why this is my ministry, because I work with parents. I help them understand the system. I help give them the tools to be able to push their kid and to be able to get outside support from a cultural perspective. And I help them understand how to fucking get through, like just how to, in general, if you want your kid to go to a top school, I know how to get them in there. And you know what I'm saying? If you want your kid to be pulled out and be homeschooled, let's do that. So at the end of the day, and when we talk about the Board of Education, what people have to understand is, you're right, Evan, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I should know your name. I know I should. But
just call me
the Board of Education is one of the most important governing bodies, because the taxes that we pay, and even if you don't own property, you paying taxes, okay? it's going toward the Board of Education. Like, we're paying for these schools. So
Right.
when we talk about them miseducating our kids, we are literally paying for them to
Paying for
miseducate our kids. When
Yeah.
we talk about our kids that are now, we are having a big push for kids are starting to leave the system. And one of the things that I'm working on with the collaborative is studying where our kids are going, because I'm
Right.
beginning to see that we might have it's a lot of kids that's leaving the system for multiple reasons. But I think the main reason, of course, because they are being dumbed down, but they're being homeschooled. And what happens is the system does not calculate the kids that are homeschooled. In fact,
Right.
do you know what they call the kids that are homeschooled?
Dropout, probably.
They call them dropouts.
Yeah.
So when we look at the dropout rate, they say the system don't account for what that is. So what I'm doing is I'm in the process of I did these 4 years, so I'm collecting all this data from CPS, and I'm gonna dig into it, because what the Board of Education has responsibility to do is to make that money follow the kid.
It's our
So if
money.
you got kids that are being homeschooled, or the system ain't doing what they supposed to, that money needs to go to the home where that kid is being schooled.
That'll be
You
next
know what I'm
level.
saying? So that's
that'll
a
be
whole
next
nother
level.
conversation. Right. That's a whole nother conversation that we should be having with the board when that information, when we get that information. So
Now, how people reach you though, Natasha? Oh, go ahead, Evan.
You could just email. Go ahead.
I believe it's supposed to already. I think, I'm
They
not
are.
mistaken, it's supposed to follow the kids to the home. If you're homeschooling, you're supposed to get a check from CPS.
You are, but they made it so it's so convoluted and people don't know, and it's crazy. But we need to elevate it with the data to show this. But yeah, it's a big deal. Like we're losing kids. And let me say this one more. This is another thing I'm noticing too with the data. You know, our schools are turning Hispanic overnight. I'm gonna give you an example of a school. I'm gonna give you an example, and this is multiple schools. I just want to give you one. Bradwell Elementary School. Bradwell was 98% Black in 2023 school year, 2022-23 school year. It is now 70% Black. And guess what? The total number of students have not increased.
Yeah.
So if the total number of students have not increased, but the Hispanic population has, that means our kids are being pushed out.
Most definitely.
So that's one school. I found it in many other schools where I've seen a number switch. Like and when we think about education with little kids, that's families moving into buildings and apartments and getting housing. Where are they putting our families? Where are they going? That's a whole nother conversation. So yeah, the migrant crisis, they want to call migrants. We know they not that, but they have already started to push us out and off the land.
And that's why the structure matters. The way we push back, the way we respond. That's why you hear me asking everyone to give their contact info, because we don't need gatekeepers. We got to be able to get in touch with each other and coordinate together. So Natasha, how people reach you?
You can email me. My email address is, you can just email my personal address is Natasha.
I give, if it's an email,
give it to them. Just to get my phone number. You can get my phone number too. Just put it in. I don't mind people calling me. Yeah.
All right. Well, I thank you for everything you're doing. I thank you for financially supporting what we do. So let's keep coordinating together, Queen.
Yep. Let's do it.
Excellent. Governor Charles, are you there, Governor Charles? Okay. Charles is on mute, so when he come off, we'll bring him in. So if y'all look at this screen here, this just shows you, and we want to get this in everybody's household. This is a structure, so it applies to our people in Detroit, St. Louis, Milwaukee. What we're saying is every profession, can you commit to that grade? So accountants, can you put money behind 9th graders? Anyone, book author, 11th graders, barbers, 8th graders, chefs, 9th graders. You can just see this here. But the point of this is that we as Black people use our own money, part of it. So we do exactly what Eben and Natasha talking about. It's our tax money coming back to us. But we also need to look ourselves in the mirror and make sure we're doing our part to circulate amongst a parent who might not have it for their child. So in this structure here, as you can see, it's every grade covered, kindergarten all the way down to 12th grade. No grade is left out. So no parent should have their kids with no winter coat, winter boots, whatever the case is when we got these business professionals here. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like it.
Well, like Nike, we just go do it. All right, so
Hey,
let's move
sir, I'm
on.
here. I'm here,
Oh,
sir.
well, all right.
So,
Introduce yourself, Governor, and tell us what you think so far, because they knocked out your education piece already. But what you thought
I
about what
see.
you heard?
I see. Good job, guys, doing that. Thank you for doing that for me. My name is Governor Charles Robson, 60628 zip code. I'm responsible for all things nursing. And my sister state is Dallas, Texas. And my African country is Djibouti. I mean, not Djibouti, South Africa. What I would like to see before I leave this earth is us getting to a better financial state, a better social state, and just taking our rightful place on the world stage.
Thank you. Yeah. What you thought about what you heard?
Well, I
Any
heard, I
adequate?
think I came in, the lady that spoke before Natasha, I was coming in on that, the lady that was in the car. So,
Sure.
I mean, yeah, Cheryl. So, yeah, Natasha and Cheryl did a real good job of explaining this education thing and what it should look like. Now, on the side of things, people on the other side, what I want to say is people are fleeing Chicago, Black people especially. They kicking us out tax-wise, they making it difficult. I just rode past 79th and Cottage Grove, a whole block of desolateness on 79th and Cottage Grove. Everything closed down. So all I seen was a Harold's Chicken that was open, and of course the currency has changed.
Right.
So that just showed the fleeing of people. People are fleeing and going to other states at the same time. And yeah, I think we got a real corrupt education system. Well, I get that part. They really ain't teaching our kids. Yeah, they really not.
So what you just said about the desolateness, I always go back to my Navy time. When our ship would hit a port overseas, the whole town was ready to receive these U.S. sailors. They stayed open late. They had sales, everything, because they wanted what? Our money. We created vibrancy by coming into their town. We lit it up. And I really think that's what Black people got to have in this country, because it's people sitting around in Jackson, Mississippi right now on buckets, 5-gallon buckets, bored at the gas station. We sitting around on 125th Street in Harlem. You know, we got to create this travel where we're constantly moving around, because that's our vibrancy. When we see the illegals, they're moving around. That keeps you from being bored when you on the go instead of just sitting, forever. And so that's why this national piece matters, so we can be moving our people around. And while they're moving around, they on a 6-month assignment here from Miami to help Natasha out with the collaboration organization she got. So while they here, they adding value. They not just here a bump on the log. Or when they come up from LA, they assigned to Sister Giles in North Lawndale, which is little LA. So I do think that's a big part of galvanizing our people, because right now we're in a spiritual battle with their minds. And the minds is in idleness, I don't give a Fness, and travel is the therapeutic piece to that, when you get a person out of their comfort zone. So thank y'all for that so far. Now we got to move. We got to catch up real quick. The government report cards. So we'll kind of skip that, but I'm going to talk about it for people who may not know. The bottom line is every second Friday is our political day. Every second Friday. We have Governor Brittany on here, who's in the zip code 79th and Western zip code over there. They're responsible for all things dealing with politics, just like you heard Charles talk about nursing in Roseland. So brother Dolphin, who owns Dan's Soul Food Restaurant there on 79th, he is leading the effort to make sure we got registered voters in every zip code. That's going to be with Mark Wallace, with our brother Elder Lanyard with Evangelism of Grace, Live Free. But we want to make sure that from the registration piece that we at least get these 17-year-olds, as soon as they turn 18, that way they register and we get a new voting block. We're not asking people how they're going to vote, but we just know that registration means everything. And on our end, we want to know what zip code they come from so we can link them to this structure that we think is going to help us turn things around. Governor Brittany, you mind coming off mute? I don't know if you at work or not. But do your introduction and let everybody know what you got going on.
My name is Brittany. I'm a nurse. I'm not sure what else.
No, just give us, like, from your vantage point, you've been on the call. What's your take on what you're hearing? Pros, cons, missing pieces?
Well, from my own perspective,
and she's young, you guys, so this from a youth perspective. Go ahead.
I don't know how young I still am. But I would say across the board, I've seen a lot of things change in the past even just the past couple of months, especially when it comes to racial disparities. For one, we talk about this as work as well, because I worked in the Chicago Public Schools in the past year, as well as in the hospitals. And we've seen not a big shift, I would say, in how African Americans are treated, because to be honest, I really feel like it's only gotten worse. It really hasn't changed much, but we've definitely seen an increase in Hispanics in our schools. I would say I've definitely seen an increase in the schools that I've gone to that were in neighborhoods that were once predominantly Black, and now we're seeing a lot more Hispanics, especially Venezuelans. And that's because of
now, what about in the medical world? Tell us, to give us insight, what you seeing there, anything?
Well, there was a few strikes, or what would have been a few strikes, one of them here in Chicago. But most of that was because of the nurses. And we're seeing a big increase in the amount of nurses that are leaving, and especially that will continue to leave in the past year. I've seen nursing schools get shut down because what they're fighting for is policies to be put in place for safer working conditions. And unfortunately, they are still struggling to get what they need. So because of that, it's trickling down where people aren't able to get quality health care. Even hospitals that used to have better standards of care are getting much less than what they were getting before. One of them was the University of Chicago, who they almost had a strike earlier this year, but they were able to avoid it because, again, people were trying to fight for better working conditions. And they used to have a much higher rating than they have now.
Which is because of the migrants, though? That's what I'm saying. Like, what's the reason? Well, what's one of the reasons, key reasons?
Well, one of the reasons for them is because the nurses that they had working there are leaving. A lot of if you go to a lot of hospitals now, including that one, a lot of them are being led by contract nurses. So you're seeing nurses come and then they go. So you're not seeing people who actually care working in these hospitals. One of the worst ones is actually Ingalls and Harvey, which was bought by University of Chicago about a couple of years ago. Those nurses fought just to be able to get the same benefits as the ones in Hyde Park, because they really didn't care to give those nurses who are predominantly Black and Asian over in Harvey the same benefits, the same pay package. For example, tuition reimbursement, they had to really fight to get reimbursed just to go back to school and to get high degrees. And so as a result, a lot of the nurses left there. They have one of the poorest working conditions there. I mean, like, completely unsafe. Almost every nurse I've ever known that works there has quit, like, less than a year.
Wow.
And unfortunately, their population is mostly Black. So most of those people who are getting poor healthcare is Black people.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, the worst conditions. But the people who are leading that hospital are white.
Oh yeah, so, well, we know what we up against. So yeah, definitely, we got a lot of work cut out for us. Anything coming up, Brittany, that people can connect with? And is it a nursing group coming together? Anything politics?
We do have a Black Nurses Association. Well, we actually have another one. The one that we originally had people kind of, because of COVID, dispersed. But there is another one in Illinois. So if people want to get in touch with me and follow along with that one, they can. That one is, they do stuff in the community. They'll like, for example, they'll have places where you'll find them popping up doing like blood pressures and things like that. Sometimes you'll find them at like festivals where they'll have like booths. And you can come up and they'll do your vital signs and they'll give you, like some vague information about questions you may have about your own health. Of course, we're not doctors, so we don't try to cross that. But if you want, you can let me know if you're interested.
Now, look at this slide right here real quick. From your medical perspective, these foods are in our kitchens. And because they control everything, what can people do?
Well, some of the, well, for one, I think that there is a huge issue with in healthcare. First off, a lot of doctors, believe it or not, do not know nutrition. A lot of people think that doctors know everything there is to know about the human body and whatnot. That's actually not true. A lot of doctors either specialize in one thing, and one of the things that doctors really don't know across the board is nutrition. For example, if you actually go to a hospital and you look at the packaging on a lot of the nutritional supplies and equipment that we use, a lot of these companies actually supply them. So not only are they supplying you the food that kills you, but then they're also trying to give you the treatment as well. And there's some made in the same factories. Like, for example, the G2 feeding that we get is made by Nestle, but they're the same company that will give you chocolate milk when you were a kid that has God knows what in it.
Now, I don't want you to go too deep because that's deep stuff, but I'm glad they heard directly from someone in the field, because this is a battle, and this stuff they're putting in the food, they're not putting in Europe food. The same food, when you go to Europe, it don't have all them preservatives in it. So you got to ask yourself, what's the agenda? Why are we trying to hurt this group of people and not another group of people? So that's a great update. I appreciate you. Anybody got any questions for Brittany? Statements? All right, we down to the last 8 minutes. So I got to go real quickly. So the G20, just so everyone knows, especially our audience, G20 is the 20 richest economies in the world. They meet every year, and the purpose of their meeting is to make certain that they can grow their economies. They grow their economies by taking the raw materials out of Africa. So the meeting essentially is about how to keep Africa on the bottom. And of course, that means African Americans too, because we are the most powerful, richest blacks in the world. And so if they keep us distracted, then they can keep robbing our brothers and sisters in the continent. So please know that's the global game, you guys. G20 that meets every year, but they have competition now called BRICS. BRICS is going to battle the G20, and that's a good thing for black people. It's a beautiful thing. BRICS is Brazil, is Russia, India, China, and then South Africa. They are challenging the U.S. dollar, the U.S. white dollar, I'm gonna say, and that is gonna allow us to connect with our brothers and sisters in the continent. So I just want to touch on that G20 and why it matters, because they literally are meeting. And the key example on how the G20 hurts black people, during the G20 meeting, Mexico is a member of the G20. Mexico brokered a deal with Ford, where with America, of course, Ford is in America, and F-150s are made in Mexico now. They went from Michigan, Detroit to Mexico. That directly hurt black people. Make no mistake about it. Blacks in Michigan lost jobs, and them jobs went to Mexico. At the G20, when they're meeting, they're discussing how to save money, how to do things like that. So that's why black people got to know this G20 meeting that happens every year is to figure out more ways to hurt black people. And they're going to be meeting this year in Brazil. It rotates every year. I hope to be there. It's going to be in November 18th. And we're going to make sure that we monitoring how they're trying to plot against us. Any thoughts on that before we move on from the G20?
Now, Ron, as you're speaking, and a combination of what everybody's spoken about, the economics, was that you that gave me those stats about how much money blacks spend on hair and perfume, and it was 3 big items.
Yeah,
But it was
Target Market News used to get it, but he's no longer doing it. So I don't know. You can Google it, but yeah,
somebody
we
just
used to
gave
watch.
it to me. I was looking to see. I thought I had taken a picture of where I had written it down because it's
Mm-hmm.
like $52 billion that we spent on hair
Yeah,
alone. And
yeah,
then it was like 170 some billion on perfumes, different types of perfumes and colognes. And I think, when we're looking at all of these things that we've discussed today, is where we spend putting our money. That's a
yeah,
big issue. And if we
big
can
time.
harness some of that money into some productive areas, it would really be beneficial for us.
Spoken well, Governor. Y'all know that at the end of the day, can you name your four? That's what you see right there. If we can't name four black people we circulated with, black businesses, risk takers, then we part of the problem. This is minimum stuff here. Like who do your hair, your music. On the left here is some of the industries that we spend money in. Every Wednesday is economic day. So it's 4 Wednesdays a month. Can we join the rest of us and don't give our money to our enemy on Wednesday? So buy your gas on Tuesday if you don't get it from Karen out there on 152nd and Halsted. So get your gas not on Wednesday. Like stick with us spiritually, y'all. Wednesday, don't give the enemy our money. But there's just some examples here on where you can where you spend your money as so you can remember. And if you're not naming them to us, the problem is if you don't name them, text me or get the information to me. Unfortunately, with our governors in every zip code, the governors don't get the update. So if Natasha's spending money in North Lawndale and she don't let us know, we don't let Sister Giles know that these are the businesses in her zip code that she may not know about. So it's real important that we name the four so that they can be processed and given to the right leadership in that neighborhood. All right. Thanks for bringing that up, Pamela.
Okay.
Last thing before we cut out the Gary conventions, Gary, Indiana, 83% black. That number is definitely going down by the 2030 census because the Hispanics got word that this is very cheap housing here and they're buying up and fixing up everywhere in this black city that's small just outside Chicago. So it shouldn't be happening. Black people should be, black Chicago and black suburbs should be buying up Gary to prevent another group from coming in here and benefiting on why our people left here in the first place. Something bad happened to our people for them to leave, and now others get to scoop in here and benefit from that stuff, those bad reasons our people left. So I wanted to make sure the Gary, Indiana conventions are designed to combat that by having weekly conventions here in Gary for every subject matter. We hope to justify why you would come to Gary, spend money in Gary, stay in Gary, Airbnb in Gary, so we can have this black city as a mecca just outside Chicago, the third largest city. So let us conclude. Thank you guys for your time. This is very important. And all of our people that's on here, last names A through E, I want to give an extra kudos to, because whether you realize it or not, you made the structure stronger today by carving out this time and getting on here. To all our people who put in their dollars, their $12, the $100 loaners, the higher loaners, without that, you guys, we don't exist. So I just want to give kudos to everyone. Charles, thank you for continue holding down all the 4 o'clocks, getting on. Sister Giles for setting up North Lawndale meeting. Just thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. We're gonna rock and roll. The next one for this group is January, the 4th Saturday in January. So you got 6 months off from our standpoint. But next month is last names F through K, and they'll be on the 4th Saturday, which is August 24th. F through K will go through what you guys just went through. All right. Any closing remarks from anybody else? 2 minutes.
Just want to say, Saran, thank you for your vision. I thank you for your steadfastness. Thank you for the people that are on this call and all those that are participating that heard and saw your vision and believe in it and help keeping it going forward. Thank you.
No stress, and it's ours, is what we do. So thank y'all. This is on YouTube. So I send everyone, text everyone a link, share it with your people, especially if they last names F through K. So all the Jacksons, all the Harrises, anyone send them the link and say next month it's on y'all. That's how we do this. So every month we got covered. Thanks. Our phone number is 312 area code 405-8844, 312-405-8844.